Walker Stapleton's spokesperson told 9 News this week that the candidate was joking when he called Westword and the Colorado Independent phony news organizations at a fundraiser last week. Stapleton's comments were made at a private event in Parker where he was joined by Tancredo, a former member of this esteemed table. Penn, the candidate already said he was joking. It was a private event, but it's 2018. Is anything really private unless you're in the cone of silence a la Get Smart? What do you make of the situation?
Well, it's not private if you're a candidate running for governor, and the private event is to promote your candidacy to be the next governor of the state of Colorado. And so anything you say is always on the record, and you may call it a joke, but at best it's a joke in poor taste. And particularly given the context. We've talked about the whole tribalism and what's happening in this country now. And the reality is this, and we've talked about it here before. To have a functioning democracy, you've got to have a vital, free, and independent press. That's why it's the First Amendment, not the 31st Amendment. And it really bothers me when Donald Trump continually attacks the press, rather than just stepping up and saying, yeah, I said it, I did it, okay, fine, let's move on, or providing an explanation. You go after the messenger, and the messenger is not at fault here. And I'm a little disturbed if Walker's beginning to slide down this path, and even if Jared Polis slides down this path and starts accusing the press for saying, you know, I was misquoted when you tape recorded the interview or something, or several people heard it. You weren't misquoted, or I misspoke. Well, you may have misspoken, but don't blame the press for catching you saying something dumb. But there's a dangerous environment being created. And I'm just really concerned that Colorado politicians, particularly folks running for the highest office in the state, are beginning to take the tact and approach of Donald Trump, because we see where that's taken this country and, quite frankly, the world.
Ed, are we going to begin to see non-disclosure agreements at fundraiser events?
You know, we've gotten to the point where I think, while everyone tends to focus on Trump, and Penn makes good points about that, I think candidates of all sides have begun to see the press as the enemy at this point. And that's because the more they can get in front of people, and instead of just a 30-second spot on TV these days, they can get in front of social media, they can continue to use mailers, they can get in front of a lot of ways. They want to control the message. The more that they lose control of that message, the more they become functioning as a fighter against the people who are putting that message out there. It's worth noting that, yeah, this was Walker kind of going after two organizations. He's not alone in this race in doing this. I can go all the way back to 2009 after the Rocky Mountain News closed, when Jared Polis spoke to a group of bloggers and said that we, speaking of the tech entrepreneur community, killed the Rocky Mountain News, and, quote, I argue it's mostly for the better. The media is dead. Long live the new media. So it's not like Jared Polis is particularly friendly and saying, oh, what a terrible thing you've said, Walker, here. I think this is the kind of rhetorical level we've gotten to at this point. When candidates also want to focus on what they want rather than, say, the issues. We're dealing with that repeatedly in this race now. I'll tell you, I went to a event at 11 o'clock today that was billed as a talk about Polis's pro-worker agenda, which sounded something very interesting to the business community. All it was people standing in Walker Stapleton's empty parking spot asking where Walker was. So, you know, when people bash the media after they invite us somewhere under, you know, seemingly false pretenses, they should think about why we might be critical or why we might say something they don't like. So, but I don't think this is the last time we're going to see that in this campaign.
Patty, a phony news organization, I'm not sure even registers on the offense meter for Westword. You've been called far worse.
Oh, by myself.
Your reaction to the joking event?
Well, hold on to your socks, because I actually thought it was fairly funny, and I was gratified to see that a candidate for governor of Colorado could quit being such a stiff or a scaredy cat, which Walker Stapleton certainly was when an editor dared to introduce herself to him at a public gathering. You know, I thought, okay, they already knew there was a reporter there. Corey Hutchins from the Independent was lurking was in the bushes because they wouldn't let him in. So he had to stay off the property. So they knew a reporter was there. He made what I'm assuming is a joke with people listening, and I listened to the tape. It was kind of funny. I've certainly said worse things about Westword and worse things about Walker Stapleton. But the concern I have is that other people don't think this is a joke. I can tell you the kinds of threats and the kinds of nasty things that are said to us all the time now. It's okay because of Trump. It's okay because of other people. It is not okay to threaten the media who are really out there doing their job because they want to be representatives of the people. And these people who want elected office should be willing to talk to the representatives of the people.
Krista, a tempest in a teapot?
It's a tempest in a teapot, seriously. It's my reaction to the story is who cares? I don't like it when politicians put down the media, even in jest. But still, it's not a real story. I mean, what really matters between Jared Polis and Walker Stapleton is where they stand on the issues. Anything about who said what, who was standing with Tancredo, none of that really matters. What really matters is what they believe and what they're going to do.